What are the top 10 pros and cons you need to know about before making the move to Hamilton, Ontario? Well, after living here for the past 10 years, creating hundreds of videos going over the different areas of Hamilton and helping dozens of families relocate here and buy a home, I've narrowed it down to these 10 pros and cons you must know about before making the move. And the first con a lot of my clients talk to me about when they're relocating to Hamilton is they don't want to live near the industrial or steel manufacturing that Hamilton is best known for and where it gets the nicknames Steel City or the Hammer. Now, a lot of my clients, especially the ones that are relocating from Toronto, don't know much about Hamilton. One of the comments I always get is, I don't want to live near the steel manufacturing. And in reality, this is quite doable as the majority of Hamilton won't be near the steel manufacturing. So let me jump on my computer right now and break down where exactly you'll find it and the other areas that you won't be anywhere near it. All right, guys, so here we have Hamilton on a map. You got Waterdown over here, Dundas, Ancaster, the Hamilton Mountain, and Stony Creek. But where you're going to be finding the industrial sector, if I click it on right here, is on the north side of central Hamilton. Really, it starts around Barton Street. You'll probably hear a lot of people as you're moving to Hamilton talk about Barton Street right here. So it's really anything north of Barton Street, you really start to get a bit closer to the industrial sectors. And that's why when you drive over the Skyway here, heading out towards Niagara Falls, that's all you really see of Hamilton is this industrial sector. Now, if you want to learn where the wastewater treatment plants are, the landfills and recycling, or the local quarry in Hamilton before you make the move to ensure you're moving to the right area, keep on watching. But like you see, Hamilton is quite vast and that industrial sector is only in the central part of Hamilton. And as a result, when you're relocating to Hamilton and going to be buying a home, you're more likely to buy close to a waterfall or conservation area compared to this industrial sector here. Of course, unless you're right beside it in central Hamilton, which actually brings me on to the next pro about living in Hamilton, and that is the amazing parks and waterfalls Hamilton has to offer you. As you might not know it from Hamilton's nicknames of the Hammer or Steel City, but Hamilton is actually the waterfall capital of the world with more than 150 different waterfalls for you to enjoy. So a few of my favorite waterfalls in the different areas of Hamilton. So depending on where you're looking, these are the ones I'd recommend you go take a look at. As you got in Dundas, you got Spencer's Gorge that has Two's Falls, which is the tallest waterfall, Webster Falls, which is probably the most iconic waterfall, as well as Dundas Peak, offering some panoramic views of the Dundas Valley. But then you also have Tiffany Falls in Ancaster, Albion Falls on the Hamilton Mountain, the Devil's Punch Bowl in Stony Creek, or the Smoky Hollow Waterfall in Waterdown. Now, not only does Hamilton have amazing waterfalls, but it also has fantastic parks. As in total, you're going to find more than 500 different parks throughout Hamilton, with 11 of them being conservation areas. And oftentimes, a lot of these parks here, especially in the neighborhoods, is located right beside these schools. So if you want to learn about these schooling options in Hamilton, keep on watching. But a few of my favorite parks in the different regions of Hamilton would first be the 50 Point Conservation Area, which in my opinion has the best sandy beach in all of Hamilton on Lake Ontario. You have Bayfront Park right in downtown that offers some great walking paths, but also hosts regular events. You have Valens Lake, which is perhaps my favorite park in Hamilton right now, as it's only about a 30-minute drive away from downtown Hamilton, where you can go relax for the weekend and go camping, but also enjoy their man-made lake. Then you also have the Waterdown Memorial Park in Waterdown that offers a variety of different sports fields, a skate park, a splash pad, but also in the wintertime has a nice outdoor skating loop, or also the Dundas Valley Conservation Area, which is one of the most biodiverse parks around and is 8 times larger than Central Park in New York City. So as you can see, usually once I take my clients around Hamilton, show them a couple of different areas, the biggest comment I get, especially from my clients relocating from Toronto, is I can't believe how green Hamilton actually is. So if you're new here and want to learn everything about what it's like living in Hamilton, from the pros and cons to the best and worst neighborhoods and everything in between, make sure to hit the subscribe button. My name is Matthew, the founding realtor of the Living in Hamilton channel and team, and for the past couple of years been helping people just like yourselves relocate here and buy a home. So if you're thinking about making the move, whether you're 6 months out or 60 days out, send me and my team a message today. Otherwise, the next pro you need to know about before making the move to Hamilton is the amazing healthcare, as as Hamilton has 4 different major hospitals, all of which were rated in the top 50 hospitals in Canada, including McMaster Sick Kids Hospital, which was ranked as one of the best sick kids hospital in the world and second best in Ontario, only behind the Toronto Sick Kids Hospital. But then you also have Juravinsky Care Center, which is rated among the top in patient care and cancer research in the province and has been in the top 10 since 2011. But then you also have St. Joseph's Hospital, also ranking the top 20 of research hospitals in Canada. And then the 4th hospital you'll find in Hamilton is the Hamilton General Hospital, which is found in downtown Hamilton. Now, speaking of downtown Hamilton, actually brings us on to the next con you need to know about before making the move here, as this is where you're going to find it most often, and that is the one-way roads, the traffic, the construction, and the confusing roadways, as downtown Hamilton definitely has the highest concentration of one-way roads. You have King Street and Main Street, which are the 2 main arteries in downtown Hamilton, each on its own one way, but then you also have a variety of neighborhood streets that are also only one way. And then depending on the time of the day, getting up to the Hamilton Mountain can change. As for example, like the Sherman Cut that I live personally close to, in the morning, it's one way going down. In the afternoon, it's 2 ways. You can go up or down. And then in the evening, it's one way going up. So as you can see, it definitely adds a layer of complexity. So what I would recommend to all my clients that are relocating here is just use your phone, use Google GPS, and you can pretty much alleviate all your concerns about driving on the one-way roads. However, with that said, no matter what GPS you use, you're still going to find the congestion and the construction and the traffic that causes in downtown Hamilton, as not only this is the area that we're seeing the most amount of condo buildings being built, the most amount of infrastructure improvements in terms of like the roadways, the bike lanes, the sidewalks, but then you also are going to be having the LRT line coming in, which is a super exciting $3.4 billion light rail transit project that's going to have 5 different lines. However, it is going to be over the span of the next 10, 15, 20 years before it's fully complete. And as a result, there's definitely going to be construction. And the first line that they're planning on completing is the B line that runs all the way from McMaster University to Eastgate Square. So this construction here, plus the one-way roads and the confusing up and down the Hamilton Mountain, is definitely one of the cons you need to be aware of before making the move to Hamilton. Now, with that said, one of the reasons for all this congestion, all this traffic, all this construction is due to Hamilton being a large city, which in my opinion is the next pro about living in Hamilton, is all the big city amenities. As one, you're going to have fantastic shopping options to choose from, as you're going to be finding 3 indoor malls in Hamilton, with Limeridge Mall being on the mountain, Eastgate Square Mall in Stony Creek, and Jackson Square Mall in downtown Hamilton, as well as countless large shopping plazas in each area you're looking in, whether it's Ancaster, Stony Creek, the mountain, or Waterdown. But then you're also going to find a lot of charming small downtown areas, as before 2001, Hamilton was really a collection of small towns. You had Waterdown, you had Ancaster, you had Stony Creek, but they all came together. But that doesn't mean they lost their charm. And as a result, each of these areas here have their own unique little downtown area with their own local gems that you'll need to explore. Now, some of my personal favorite local gems, if I had to only give you 5, and I could create a whole video going over all my favorites, would number 1 be Cowabunga Pizza, which was rated the #1 cheese slice in the entire world recently. You have Latin, which is a small little food stall in the Hamilton Farmers Market, which in my opinion offers the best tacos in all of Hamilton. You have the Collective Arts Brewery and Mel's Deli, which is a fantastic combo to pick up a craft beer as well as a fantastic deli sandwich. You have the Memphis Fire Barbecue, which is in my opinion again the best barbecue in all of Hamilton, and was even featured on shows like You Gotta Eat Here. And then I'm a huge sucker for bagels, so the Old Bagel House with those classic Montreal style bagels is an absolute must for me. Then the final big city amenity I think that Hamilton offers you that the surrounding cities of Hamilton don't is the sports and events that happen here, and festivals for that matter. As first of all, the sports teams, you have the Hamilton Tiger Cats, the Forge FC, the Hamilton Bulldogs that are playing right now in Brantford, and that is because the First Ontario Centre here is going under a $290 million renovation, changing it to the TD Coliseum, and really about 80% of the interior is being completely redeveloped to be the ultimate concert music experience. So once it's complete, the Hamilton Bulldogs will be coming back, but also the variety of new musical performances and shows will now be here, including, if you know the chef Matty Matheson, he's actually going to be opening up a restaurant in this stadium here as well. And then in terms of events and festivals, Hamilton is fantastic for it, as Burlington, Oakville, they only get one Rib Fest, but because Hamilton is so large and because those areas are so different, you have 5 different Rib Fests, one in Waterdown, one in Ancaster, one on the Hamilton Mountain, one in Stony Creek. So as you can see, it's truly great, as not only do you get more options to choose from on a weekly basis, there's always something going on, but then you also get larger events like the Super Crawl that happens on James Street, where they close it down, where there's a lot of local vendors, live music, food trucks, and so much more. Now, the next con associated with living in Hamilton also kind of goes hand in hand with that larger city, and especially the rising costs we're going to be finding just throughout the greater Horseshoe area, and that is the gentrification and homelessness you're going to be finding in Hamilton. As when you compare it to some surrounding cities, it is going to be a bit more noticeable, but with a caveat. It really depends on where you're looking, as oftentimes the areas that were hit the hardest are going to be around the industrial sector in downtown Hamilton. So if you are further out, it's definitely a little bit less noticeable, but something you should keep in mind. Now, if you're looking for the other areas you might want to look out for and avoid when making the move to Hamilton, like the landfills, like the wastewater treatment centers that offer a bad odor, keep on watching, as in a moment, I'll share where you can go find all that information and so much more. But the next pro you need to know about before making the move to Hamilton is the fantastic schools that Hamilton has to offer you. As throughout Hamilton, you're going to find many great schools to choose from. Both public, Catholic, Christian, private schools are all available in Hamilton here, and in total there was over 50 schools that were rated above the provincial average according to the Fraser Institute rankings, which takes the standardized tests of the EQAO from grade 3, 6, and 9 and puts it into an index. So you're going to find fantastic options throughout Hamilton. Now, of course, every school is going to have their own individual scores, and they are going to fluctuate year to year. So if you want to learn more about them, I have a video where I go over the 5-year averages of all these schools of Hamilton, but you can also check out the Fraser Institute rankings. I'll leave a link down below. But in terms of the schools, the ones that are the most notable would be the Hillfield Strath Island College, which is a private school offering education as young as Montessori school all the way up to grade 12, and it's known as one of the best private schools in all of Hamilton. And then in terms of post-secondary options, you're also going to find Mohawk College, which was rated the 85th best college in Canada, and then you also have McMaster University, which is continuously ranks in the top universities, not only in Canada, but the entire world. In my opinion, it's the best university, but I might be biased as I did graduate from there. Now, one of the pros or cons, really depending on how you're going to be seeing it, is the real estate you're going to be finding in Hamilton. As like any other area, really in the greater Toronto, Hamilton area, real estate is going to be more on the expensive side. Now, with that said, what does that exactly mean? Well, the median detached sold price in the past 12 months in Hamilton was $792,000, with the majority of detached homes, as you see here, really selling anywhere from $500,000 to $1.25 million. Now, of course, the different areas of Hamilton, some are going to be higher like Ancaster, some are going to be lower like the central part of Hamilton. So if you want to learn more, send me and my team a message today. We'd be happy to break it down in more detail. But the median townhome price was $690,000, with the majority selling really between that $500,000 and $900,000 mark. And as you can see here, in terms of the townhome breakdown, about 17% were semi-detached, another 37% were condo townhomes, and then about 45% were attached townhomes. And then in terms of condos, the median sold price was $435,000, with the majority really selling anywhere from $300,000 up to $600,000. Now, as you can see, the median sold prices are all going to be pretty high and expensive anywhere you live in the greater Toronto, Hamilton area. Now, with that said, I actually think Hamilton's real estate prices, when you compare it to the surrounding cities, is more of a pro. as when we compare it to the surrounding cities of Burlington, Oakville, Milton, Toronto, Grimsby, Guelph, and the Kitchener-Waterloo region, they're all more expensive than Hamilton. The only area that is more affordable is Brantford. And then in terms of townhomes, again, you're gonna see Hamilton is definitely more on the affordable side. And then that also follows suit in the condos category, as again, Hamilton is gonna be some of the most affordable options here, but also other than Toronto is gonna offer the most amount of variety of detached homes, townhomes, and condos to choose from, as well as different neighborhoods, as it's so large compared to the other surrounding cities. As in total, I think it's the 9th largest city in Canada. And that's also the other pro associated with the real estate is the variety, because if you're looking for those classic heritage homes, those red brick homes that have a lot of charm, you're gonna find lots of options in Hamilton. If you're looking for more of those side splits, back splits, bungalows built in the 60s and 70s that offer a large size lot, you're gonna be finding them here as well. And then you'll also find a lot of different two-story options that were really built in the late 90s, early 2000s in established neighborhoods to brand new neighborhoods with fantastic builds of detached homes, townhomes, and condos that are just being finished up today. So no matter what type of real estate you're looking for in Hamilton, you're definitely going to be finding it. And if you want help finding the best areas and the best homes for you based on your search criteria, send me and my team a message today. Now, with that said, one of the cons associated with Hamilton's real estate, and is the next con on our list here, is the above average property taxes that you're going to be finding in Hamilton. And this is definitely something that you're going to notice when you're comparing properties and seeing why Hamilton's property taxes are a little bit higher than Burlington or Oakville's, for example, for a similar size home. And that's because the current tax rate in Hamilton was around 1.4. And in a study done in 2024, out of the 30 cities they looked at across Canada, Hamilton was rated the 20th. So as you can see based on this graphic here, it's like high to middle is how I would describe Hamilton's property taxes. So now that you've learned the top 10 pros and cons of living in Hamilton, of course, if you're making the move to a new city, there's a lot more to consider other than these 10 things right here. So the next video that covers the landfills, the quarries, the wastewater treatment plants, but literally everything I could possibly think of you needed to know before making the move to Hamilton is my video covering the top 50 pros and cons of living in Hamilton. So you can find that video right here. Otherwise, I hope you have a great day.